This is a story of how anyone could be having a great time and minding their own business, but at the wrong place. It happened to me, and could even happen to you. It's a reminder how fragile is life. It was one of those trips I'd been dreaming about for months. Just me, my kayak, and a string of lakes connected like quiet, glassy highways through the wilderness. After about 3 hours of steady paddling, I found a small island, maybe a hectare in size, smack in the middle of one of the larger lakes. I still had about an hour of daylight. It was perfect, isolated, peaceful, with just enough flat ground to set up camp. The wind had picked up by the time I landed, gusting hard across the water. I found shelter behind a massive tree trunk lying near the shore, half buried in the sand with roots twisting like claws. It must have drifted there long ago, one of nature's gifts. I tucked my tent into the leeward side of it, made a quick dinner, and even dug a shallow pit to build a small fire, just enough to warm some coffee without drawing too much attention. By 11 p.m., the wind had died down, and I sat staring up at the stars. The sky was so clear it almost looked fake, like a dome full of tiny cold lights. I couldn't sleep. The coffee had done its job a little too well, and the sounds of the night, crickets, water lapping, wind in the trees, were keeping me wide awake. Then I heard it. A gunshot. It was quite far from my campground, but the quiet night was shattered by the noise. It came from across the lake. I stood up quickly, heart racing. Squinting into the dark, I spotted a boat, maybe half a mile away. The engine was off, but there were faint lights on it. My instincts screamed. I stomped out the fire fast, burying the embers with dirt and sand. I didn't know what I just heard. Could have been a hunting accident, or maybe something worse like a crime taking place. Either way, I wasn't about to advertise my location. Then I saw the boat's lights shift. It started heading toward the island. I didn't even think. I left everything. The tent, the pack, my gear. I bolted into the woods on the far side of the island, about 200 yards from my camp, and crouched behind a dense patch of bushes. My breath was loud in my ears. The boat pulled up to the shore not far from where I'd made camp. 4 big guys got out, flashlights sweeping the beach, slowly scanning. 2 of them were holding sort of assault rifles. Oh my God, these are definitely not hunters. They were talking to each other, but I couldn't make out the words. Just low tones, serious voices. I do carry a small gun with me. I have license for it. But I carry it for self-protection, especially against wild animal. It's no match with what those guys have. And I don't know what else they have in their boat. The smartest thing to do is to stay low and hidden. I could not figure out why they are here. Maybe they saw the smoke or campfire earlier. Maybe they just picked this island at random. I had no idea, but every cell in my body told me to stay hidden. After a few minutes of searching, they got back on the boat and pushed off, heading further down the lake. They did not see my tent or kayak, as it was behind the large fallen tree trunk. If they would have found it, I am very sure they will try to look for me. I didn't move. I couldn't. I stayed in that patch of forest for what felt like hours, listening for any hint they were coming back. They didn't. But sleep didn't come either. Not until maybe just before dawn, when the sky started to lighten. That's when I crept back to camp, packed up fast, and pushed off the island without even boiling water. The lake was still, calm again. You'd never know what happened the night before. I am glad nothing happened and wish no one else was hurt that night. It was my day off, and with my shift work, that sometimes means having days off during the week instead of the weekend. I wanted to relax, so decided to hike along a huge lake in a nature reserve near my place. I'd been hiking along the lakeshore trail for about an hour when I decided to stop and set up camp. The beach curved gently along the edge of the vast mirror-like lake, and behind me was a thick line of bush and forest, darkening in the late evening light. The nearest parking area was about 5 miles back. No one else around, just the sound of the water lapping against the shore and the occasional rustle from the woods. I found a flat spot on the sand, pitched my small tent, and cooked a simple meal. Just a bit of rice, an egg, and some canned beans. Nothing fancy, but it tasted good after the hike. Sat there with my back to the forest, facing the lake, waiting for the sun to drop below the horizon. The sky was melting into orange and purple. It was perfect, quiet, peaceful. I just started a small campfire when I heard it. A voice faint and slow carried over the stillness. "Help! Someone! Help me!" It came from the forest behind me. I froze. My first thought was someone's in trouble. It's a woman's voice. It wasn't a scream, more like a tired, desperate cry. I stood up fast, heart already thumping. I grabbed my hiking stick and shouted back, "Where are you?" "I'm here, behind the bush," she answered. The voice was close, maybe 50 feet into the forest. Without thinking twice, I stepped past the tree line, pushing through the undergrowth. "Keep calling out," I yelled. "Please help me," she called again. It sounded just a little further in. I walked another 50 feet, swatting branches away, stepping over roots. "Keep talking. I'm coming." Again, her voice came, just a bit deeper in, like she was walking backwards slowly, always just out of sight. By now the sun was almost gone. The forest was turning gray, shadowy. I paused, realizing how dark it had gotten. I turned in a slow circle, trying to pinpoint her. "Say something again." "Help. Help me." Then silence for a moment. By now I started to feel unsettled. And then an eerie laughter. Not joyous, not normal. It was high-pitched, just enough to grab my nerves. It was stuttering, almost playful, but with a cold edge that ran down my spine. My stomach dropped. Whatever calling me has only one intention, to make me go deeper into the forest. I do not know whether somebody trying to prank me or something. I couldn't explain it, but I knew I needed to get out. I turned and ran, branches clawing at my arms as I stumbled back toward the beach. Behind me, the laughter seems to follow me. I burst out of the tree line just as the last orange light faded from the lake. Once at the beach, I was gasping for air. I took like 30 seconds rest just to catch my breath while looking at the forest at the back. Then, I grabbed everything I could in one armful, my pack, the half-packed tent, and took off down the shoreline. It took me over an hour to get back to the car, hiking fast in the dark, with only a flashlight and the sound of my breath and waves for company. I locked the doors the second I got inside, and I didn't start the engine for a full minute, just sat there, trying to steady my hands. My car was the only one at the car park, and a strong breeze started. I don't know who or what I heard in those woods, and what would happen to me if I did not get out from there. But I know one thing for sure. I won't ever camp alone there again.